can Punisher actually survive any ultimate if he pulls out his turret at the right moment? And just how many projectiles or ultimates can Magneto actually absorb? And much more. Welcome to episode 2 of Marvel Rivals MythBusters, where I take your myths that you have in the comment section and put them to the test. So if you have a myth that you would like to be tested, do me a favor and leave a comment down below. And while you're at it, do me a favor of hitting that like and subscribe button. It lets me know that you want to keep seeing this series, and it just really helps me out. But without further ado, let's dive straight in. Now our first myth revolves completely around the Punisher's turret. And this myth comes from Fonty96 over on YouTube. And his myth is Punisher can survive any ult by pulling out his turret at the right moment. And again, a big shout out to Fonty for this myth. So in order to test this, we need to have a control. And the control is just sitting in the turret normally and seeing what a Scarlet Witch ultimate actually does to me. And well, as you can see, I completely survive a Scarlet Witch ultimate. However, the second you actually turn around in the turret, you're completely vulnerable. As demonstrated in this clip, the second you turn around in the turret, you're completely exposed to pretty much anything. Now, there isn't a perfect timing for actually being invincible to these ultimates. It all matters on the direction you're actually facing. Now, that was only for Scarlet Witch's ultimate, but what about any of the other ultimates in the entire game? Now, if Winter Soldier were to use his ultimate on a Punisher in his turret form, you're completely safe. As you can see, you actually have 600 HP of the turret, and here's a little bit of another fun fact. If you look a little bit to the right and down of the Punisher turret, you can actually see how much ammo you have, which I'm surprised that no one really knows about. But again, you can see the second I turn around in Punisher's ultimate, Winter Soldier can hit me with his ultimate, and you know it hits you because of the execute limit on your health bar. Now let's try facing someone who has a little bit of a stronger ultimate, none other than Iron Man, who does a ton of damage, and to your surprise, it actually destroys the turret and does like about 25 HP to you, so that's something to be aware of. Now when it comes to Hawkeye and his ultimate, it takes about 5 shots to get you out of the turret, but if you do spin around in your turret, you'll instantly die pretty much, but again, it can protect you a little bit. Then when it comes to Storm and her ultimate, now this is only in the situation where she's directly in front of you and not moving behind you or really on top of you. I mean, your turret can tank pretty much the entire ultimate duration, but most of the time the Storm is going to be moving around. This isn't the best way to show it to you, but it is something that you can keep in mind. Now going against a Hela, you take about 5 shots from Hela's ultimate, which is actually insane. So that's another thing to be aware of. So you can pretty much take a brunt of the damage. If a Jeff is ulting on you, all you have to do is pop a turret and you're completely fine. As you can see, my health bar is highlighted in yellow or gold. That means you're immune to CC, or crowd control abilities. Now with all of this being said, what does it actually tell us? Well, when it comes to the myth of Punisher can survive any ult by pulling out his turret at the right moment, I mean, this myth is confirmed. You can, in theory, survive any ultimate in Punisher's turret, but if you do want the best chances of getting rid of a Punisher, all you have to do is hit him from the back. Now this next myth or segment revolves all around Magneto's ultimate, and this question or myth comes from Turtle4935, and they ask, can you do a segment on all the projectiles and ultimates that Magneto can absorb with his? Now to put this myth or segment to the test, I took all the ultimates that I felt like Magneto could absorb. Now honestly, some of the outcomes are rather surprising. Now getting started with Moon Knight, you feel like you should be able to absorb it, but in reality you don't absorb it and just actually take damage if you remain in it regardless. What do you think about this in the comments down below? Do you think Magneto should be able to absorb Moon Knight's ult or not? Now next up we have none other than Namor, Neymar Jr., whoever you want to call him, and I thought you would be completely fine absorbing this because it could be considered a projectile, but in reality doesn't do anything. Now the next character was Squirrel Girl, and this was more of like a fun experiment rather than anything, because I guess it could be seen as a projectile, so I thought maybe in theory you could absorb it, but as you can see, it didn't really go the way I expected it. But maybe Black Panther might be a little bit different with his ultimate, because it could also be seen as a projectile, but in reality doesn't do anything. Now getting a tank, we have none other than Groot, whose ultimate is a projectile, and well, you absorb it perfectly fine. Then for Black Widow, her ultimate is pretty self-explanatory, it's a projectile, so of course you're going to be absorbing it. But what about a Magneto face-off, a 1v1? And honestly, for some reason it didn't absorb. Now, I feel like I don't know why that I have done this before. I absorbed a Magneto ultimate with another Magneto, but I guess that was some type of dream I've had. Now when it comes to a hero like Iron Man, of course you're going to be absorbing his ultimate, it's a projectile. But this is actually something to be aware of. You still take some damage even though you absorb it. Magneto has a base health of 650, but after absorbing his ultimate, you actually drop to 590. Now even though it's not the biggest health change, it's something to be be aware of if you're trying to get an ult off on very low HP. Now of course, if you have a Hawkeye ulting you, this is kind of what's gonna end up happening. So that's pretty much everything to be aware of if you're using Magneto's ultimate. Now, it'll also absorb things like a Mantis's healing, because that's considered a projectile, and generally speaking, everything that's considered a projectile can be absorbed by Magneto's ultimate. And if you're looking to take control of your diet, why not check out today's sponsor? Are you tired of skipping meals or grabbing junk food because you're always on the go? Well, say hello to Control, the meal replacement shake that actually tastes amazing. Now, whether you're grinding through work, gaming late into the night, or just need a quick nutritious boost, Control has your back. Of course, packed with all the good stuff, proteins, vitamins, fiber, you'll feel full and fueled without sacrificing flavor. Oh, and did I mention the flavors? Cinnamon toast, fruity flakes, cookies and creams. It's like your favorite childhood cereals, but grown up and good for you. Now, not only that, they also have a wide variety of protein bars and even protein cookies, with my personal favorites being the peanut butter pieces cookies and of course the peanut butter s'mores protein bars. And let me tell you, these peanut butter s'mores bars are amazing and they're always sold out, so you should definitely get your hands on trying it. So stop settling for bland, boring shakes, level up your nutrition at drinkcontrol.com and take control of your day. That's drinkctrl.com. Go get yours now and make sure to use code DUCK for 10% at checkout. Now, to be able to keep making these videos, I gotta have some sponsors. But anyways, back to the video. Now, this next myth comes from LMN Line over on YouTube, and they ask, can you enter a strange portal as Star-Lord, Adam Warlock, or Mantis when you're in the cocoon revived state? Now, thank you, Line, for the myth. Now, this myth was pretty straightforward to test. Now, after getting eliminated and getting into the cocoon revived state, you can, in fact, go through a strange portal and, in theory, revive on one side and then come back through the other side within time. So this myth is confirmed. Now, this next myth comes from myself, and as you may or may not know, if Peni Parker uses her alternative attack, Cyberweb Snare, you can actually block some ultimate abilities and even interrupt or cancel ultimates. And I wanted to see the full extent of the possibilities with this, so I tested everything that seemed relatively possible. Now, when it comes to a hero, again, like Iron Man, you can easily block his ultimate, as it is a projectile with a simple snare. You can protect yourself and your team, however, you do still take some damage depending on the distance from the explosion. I don't know why I said explosion like that, but of course, if Iron Man is ulting, you can also interrupt him in the ulting animation. If you do this, it will put the ultimate charge at 50% for the enemy. Now, when it comes to Spider-Man and he's jumping on top of you in ulting, you can actually stop him and interrupt him by a simple snare as well. So again, something to be aware of. Now, when it comes to Psylocke, if timed correctly, right at the start of her ultimate animation, you can actually cancel it. To pull this off, it has to be done right when she's pulling out her sword. Now, when it comes to Storm, you can, cancel her ultimate or interrupt it when she originally starts casting it. So if you're playing Storm, you want to be in a safer position to pull off your ultimate. But if you try doing this when her ult is actually used, it unfortunately doesn't work. Now, the next hero up, we have Black Panther, and this took a couple of tries to try to get right, and you can't really block the Panther. It's more like you just have to interrupt him, but as you can see, sometimes the damage still transfers through, even though you did in fact actually interrupt him. Now, for Hela, it kinda is a little interesting. When she begins ulting, she's kind of immune, which doesn't really make sense, making this ultimate a little bit stronger than any of the others in game. As you can see, when I go for the right click, it just completely goes through. However, you can block some of the shots. If timed correctly, you can block, the shots she's shooting down. I mean, you can block a majority of them, but eventually you will get put down. Now, this next segment revolves around Punisher's ultimate and just showing you the true capability of what this ultimate can do. When it comes to using Punisher's ultimate against Luna Snow, all you have to do is just shoot her. She does not survive any of Punisher's ultimate. And for Luna Snow, it only takes a full charge headshot while she's in her ultimate to actually get rid of her. If you focus all of your fire in your ultimate onto Invisible Woman while she's in her ultimate, you can easily take her down as well. Then when it comes to going against Mantis in her ultimate, well, she is not safe either. The only support that's actually safe from Punisher's ultimate is none other than Cloak and Dagger. And of course, this is only talking about Punisher's ultimate. If it's like a Magneto ultimate, well then Cloak and Dagger stands no chance. Then when it comes to Moon Knight's ultimate, if a Cloak and Dagger is ulting and she's outside of the radius, she can dash through and live with her ultimate. It's only only if she initially starts her ultimate in the radius she will actually die. Now, if a Luna Snow is ulting, well then she's instantly gonna be deleted. With that being said, that was this week's episode of Marvel Rivals MythBusters hosted by Duck Films. And of course, if you want a chance of your myths being tested, make sure to comment down below. And if you could do me that tremendous favor of hitting that like and subscribe button, it lets me know that you want to see this series continue. But regardless, I can't thank each and every one of you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.